Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Roadhouse Last Call. Morning show tells you about the morning, the evening, the afternoon. Bender, how was your morning and evening?
Morning. I'm here. Why are we talking like this?
I don't know. They said that there was a problem with the intro, so I'm trying to be creative and coming up with different ways to do the intro. And so this was me making an attempt to try something different and new.
Okay.
Do you think? Should we shelve this
Yeah,
version?
yeah, I'd scratch that idea.
All right, we're gonna scratch this one. We'll wait to hear what the people have to say, but I'm pretty sure you're right.
Nobody wants to hear you
That,
talking like Lurch.
and why is that, Bender?
You rang.
All right. Well, yeah, such as in whatnots, Bender.
Sure should do.
They wanted to hit sell,
Yes,
but they,
indeed.
they wanted to. They wanted to pump it up, and then they wanted to bump it out. Is what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Um, and so there you have it. There it is, right there. Wednesday. Um, that date is not good, dude. I don't know. I can't even frame it. I can't even frame it to where I'm like seeking out like, oh, but there's a silver lining. No, there's no silver lining.
We all dead.
That is shocking.
Yeah, so now what?
That I just without seeing flow or anything like that. If you're asking me now what we're playing gun to head, I think we bleed pretty heavily into next week. I think they're trying to buy the dip, with maybe the exception of Thursday, Friday, is going to be rough stuff.
Okay.
You can play the pops. Um, but this is you have to understand when you get a number coming out like this. First you get the market reaction, right? Market reaction, and then let's just say because we've talked about it, market loves in the media loves 1,000 point down days on the Dow, loves it. They don't give a fuck about the S&P, don't give a fuck about Nasdaq. They want the shock and awe of 1,000 point down days on the Dow. I think we're facing 1,000 point down date on the Dow unless we get some other type of data or some other type of headline to turn this wagon back around. Like this has the ability to be one of those days that, yeah, one of those days. And so the reason why I'm kind of putting this little theory together, and I'm doing it on the fly. So, Randy, you said what's next, and you're probably doing it tongue in cheek, but there's always this thing of risk off sell, right? Going into Fed in some capacity. Sometimes it's risk off, you get short covering. This be based on that run and based on the fucking absurdity of last night's run on ES, like just fucking stupid. Once again, stupid. I go back through and I look at different charts like Amazon. I look at charts like Netflix, look at charts like Meta. Looks like look at that run that Semi's had off the bottom. It's like all of those things are just like, what changed? Nothing. So why are we doing this? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Just cause. Um, yeah, man. It's like it tells me that it gives me another chance to buy more SoFi under $6. Tells me I get to buy Tesla probably about 285 again and load that out. Tells me a lot of things like that. Um,
And once again, the importance of having keeping some dry powder around reveals itself.
yeah, and look, it's like that's why it's like yesterday, and I felt like a complete and utter fucking buffoon. Sat there and I sold everything that I had loaded up, right? in that little account, just trying. And I got to admit, I got some wild ass DMs yesterday. People calling me names and shit. Really, really interesting. Um, but the plan and my overall bias on the thing was I had to get out of all of these positions ahead of CPI. So I sold both positions with Google, sold Boeing, so all of them at nice wins. Sold Tesla over 300%. It's like sold all of these little positions, and then I took that 162.50 put on Apple for this week. Apple's up almost 4% yesterday off of what? Off of what? Apple has a gap. All of these things you start looking at it is like, dude, they are just creating gaps so they can go back and fill them.
Right.
They're creating these pumps just so they can trap dumb fucks and then run it back at them.
Well, yeah, this is the name of the game.
The name of the game. So it's like the goal was to risk off. It's like now it's like this little account, and I'm gonna keep it. Look, I'm gonna keep on talking about this little account because I'm kind of in a groove right now. Um, but there's no reason why, when it comes to larger accounts or anything like that, that we can't kind of operate in the same way.
Yeah.
As far as understanding what the flow is, it's like yesterday going into it, knew that it was a little bit messy. So what do? I sold everything out, and now I am absolutely cash heavy. That account is now at 3,200. And I had that Apple 162.50 put to balance out the longer term positions out to April, January and April. That's what you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously I mean, dude, I think what you're doing with it and the way that you're playing with it or playing it, I I think is great, and I think you know, proving out the you know the read on flow and the read on the macro picture. It's awesome, and there's people in the room that are making money off it. I've been making, I haven't been holding them, and I haven't been taking every play that you put out. I've only taken a few, but the ones I've taken have all paid.
I appreciate that, but it's like even with that SoFi thing, right? It's like I'm sitting here looking at the daily. It's like we have resistance up at 650. That's where it becomes a little bit curious to me that it's like, okay, so I had two of those contracts. Granted, look at them. I paid what, 50 cents for them? I had two of them. I sold one of them thinking that we would get this day, and I'm probably going to be able to now buy five of them at like 40 cents.
Yeah. Let me know when you do.
It's like that's the game that we have to play because and I'm going to take one more second on this. A lot of us, including myself, we became so accustomed to buy the dip in trend, buy the dip in trend. And the majority of people that are playing in the market, I don't say the majority, but a healthy handful of them in our bracket and our tier, if you will, they came in post Obama, last couple of years of Obama, into Trump, to where we were so locked into a bull run. It was a bull market, no doubt, raging bull. And so that mentality was there as opposed to this environment that we are in now. It's like it could be a bear market, but it seems like everything is backfill, retrace, backfill, retrace, backfill, everything. And we have to look at it that way. So when you looked at the ES, and I was looking at it last night, I was sitting here, okay, 5 hour, it's like, what the fuck? It's like, that's like the biggest rising wedge I've ever seen in my life. It's like it just keeps on going. Just this little fucking half-ass vertical to horizontal thing just kind of going. It's like these things have a tendency to give. And so now 400 is definitely in play on the SPY machine.
Yeah. So along the lines of the last point you were making, uh, when was the last real bear market?
I don't know. So we've had shock and awe,
No, I'm
It's
not
like
talking about
you can
shock
go.
and awe. I'm talking about like 08, 09.
Oh wait, oh nine. I wasn't trading. I
Right.
was participating
So
in
so
creating
now
the fucking shit show that it was.
put that into perspective a little bit that the majority of traders uh, under the age of say 40 or
Hmm.
even older have not seen a bear market, right? So I say that because you say we're so conditioned, so many traders so conditioned by the dip, by the trend, because since 08, 09, it's, the bulls have been in control.
Hmm.
So I think, some of it is conditioning, some of it is, well, they just, haven't really traded anything else or seen anything else. So
Hmm.
anyway, you want me to talk about levels a little bit because this
Yeah,
is
man.
crazy
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna post a couple charts here. Um, this first one shows that, one second, that longer term. Uh, Actually, I'm not even gonna post that one on the daily. That longer term channel, pre-COVID high to COVID low, the parallel channel that it creates. Um, that trend line support would come in right around 4020 ish, 40 between 4020 and 4030 today. So that is a level to keep an eye on for a couple of reasons. One, it's that longer term trend line, which we have given up. We gave it up just a few days ago, and then popped back above it. Um, but you also have, so if I on moves like this, I'll draw fibs just to get an idea if we keep going. What are the kind of the next targets, right? Well, 40, 23, 25 is 1272 extension. So 40, 23, 25 is that fib extension with that trend line being, right in there with it. So that's kind of the first area that I would pay attention to. We're at 4036 right now. So, 10, 12 handles down from here and, see what it does. If it decides to keep going, you got to fib at 4006. Obviously, the 4000 whole number. And then the 1618 is down at 3981.75. Um, the other thing about that 4023 area, so there's a fib extension there. Get that long-term trendline support. That's also 4022 is the 5 MA on the daily. So that's a pretty important area, right? And we could slice right through it, but it should be an area that you look at and go, well, if nothing else, we'll probably see a bounce there. Doesn't have to, but it should. Um, is that enough levels below, or do you want some more? that takes us down to 3981.75. I guess if we get there, I'll give some more.
So it's like I have to sit here and look. It's like the first line of defense is, at least when I'm looking at SPY, it's going to be 400. That's that's first line of defense.
Yeah, so that would.
Um,
Yeah, that would. Let's see.
which basically, with your bastardizing your lines, that is essentially where the 89 and the 100 are kind of holding up right in through there.
Okay. Yeah, so
Uh,
below
on
that, I've got.
on the 1 hour, that
Yeah.
is, just to be clear.
Below that is 3965. Um, was a was a decent level. That has been a it's kind of one of those boxes that I draw and I go, okay, well, there was a lot of action in here at one point.
Hmm.
3960 if you look back March 2021, that was resistance, and it has acted as support. So that would kind of be the next level that I would look at. As far as if we, do get a bounce, kind of what we might want to look for. Let's see, we're at 40.39. So the levels that I have, again, we've dropped since I started typing these out, but the first fib retracement would have been 40.81. So obviously we're 40 away from that at this point. What else did I have on here? We're right at. So the 50 MA on the 1 hour is showing. No, sorry. The 50 MA. I didn't get that one. 50 MA on the daily. No, I didn't give that one. 50 MA on the daily showing 40.40. So that's just above here. So we get a bounce. We look at that 40.40. I'll come up with I'll give you a couple other, closer term levels, but it's going to take me a few. I mean, I had to redraw a bunch of stuff on that drop.
Oh yeah.
Right? So
no, and look, it's like if in theory, if I'm correct in what I'm thinking, they're going to want headline shock and awe going into next week. They're going to want that. The market wants that. The market will now try to hold everybody hostage up against Powell with a gun to its head. That's the plan.
Yeah.
It's like this is a hostage situation at this point.
So there is a gap on the ES too, that 40.21. Sorry to interrupt you, but I was just looking. 40.22. It's not a big gap, but there's 10 handles. 40.22 down to about 40.12. There is a gap right there. So maybe they're gonna go hunt that gap. Maybe they go way past. I have no idea, but that is definitely something to look for. I'm gonna throw this gap on the chart, and I'll post this 13-minute. Go ahead, continue.
No, I'm just throwing hot rocks at Aviator 1.
Perfect.
No, it's like, look, it's like my firm opinion is, and all of this is without seeing flow. That we also get PPI tomorrow, which, maybe it can curb it back a little bit. As far as the overall sentiment, that number can come in differently and make it be like, oh, okay, well, maybe it's trending. We were supposed to be trending lower. We're not, which makes it with inflation, which makes it really, really sticky. Flow is going to tell the tape, but I have to imagine that they're going to want to nail the shit out of every mainstream media production this evening with a massive down day on the markets and inflation being out of control. That's what they're wanting. So they're going to want CNN and Fox and MSNBC and your local nightly news for this to be a segment within the first 10 minutes of the show. That's the plan. And then you'll have on the flip side, this is again going into market psychology. On the flip side, you will have people overnight going, what the fuck? We were just here. Everything was looking fine. They're like, I can't take it anymore. And then you can get some capitulation towards the end of the week. Theory, right? So whenever you have narrative, that's narrative that I'm playing with here. Now I have to have the chart to support and I have to have flow to support. And I can't get into those things until I can get into those things, as far as really trying to understand those dynamics. That's what I believe at this moment that they're going to try to accomplish. And we will see, them babbling about inflation and the Fed and the market being down big time, recession, all that kind of stuff is going to come back in. I don't know if Europe can scream we're in a recession any fucking louder than they already have. I don't know if it's possible. So, anyways.
All right. Here's this. This is just a 13-minute chart that has that those extensions and that gap, so we can keep an eye on that. And that level down at 39.68. It's got that line there. It doesn't show where it comes from because that's a longer term area that is pretty important. But that's the gap that I was referring to.
All right. So you got anything else?
Nope.
Because I'm going to keep on throwing hot rocks at Aviator One.
What Stockington?
Good morning. Reversing the intro attempt there. Yeah. All right. I put my new levels in here. Move down. So Apple, basically going to use yesterday's lower orb 159.3 for potential put trigger, and then to the upside, dark pool from this is from August 1st. 161.51 is $570 million on Apple. Tesla triggers are going to be Friday's orb. So we've got 291.25 to the downside and 294.85 if Tesla is going to move up. Amazon stalled out here. I had a line at 130.75, which also happens to be Friday's lower orb. Then I had a fib at 132.6 if Amazon was going to go up. There's also a decent sized dark pool on Amazon to the downside. If we continue down, 129.38. So I'd be watching to see what happens there. SPY reminder, 401.60 is a good line to have on your SPY chart. That's a 5.9 something billion dollar dark pool sitting right there on the SPY. And then UVXY dark pools to the upside, 10.11 and 10.32. But that's all I got.
Okay. So UVXY, I'm looking at that 1050-ish level to hit at some point this week on a win. 1050-ish is what I'm looking for there. Things that I'm going to be looking for intraday, I want to see the activity on SOXS, SQQQ. I want to see what they're doing with those elements, specifically VIXI being another one. But we're watching that. ARK, the ultimate risk on, risk off. If they are selling calls and buying puts under $40, under $38, that type of shit, there's going to be fuckery. It's like we have to watch for the breadcrumb. Breadcrumb tickers are ARK, SQQQ, SOXS. SMH, not so much. Doesn't do a real great job. TNA. Everybody loves the TNA. These are the tickers that we need to be Square. Another great risk on, risk off. If they come in and they start pounding going out to next week, Tesla 250 puts, got to be aware. Got to be aware. Got to be aware. So we have to have our eyes open to what's going on. And I can assure you, if we work together, we're going to come out on top. What becomes problematic with days like this, when we get this massive gap down, is how do we go ahead and how do we evaluate? How do we position ourselves? How do we look for the entry? And that's going to take some patience. It's going to take some real patience. We can get an oversold pop that runs us back up to, say, 405, 406 on open, and then fade all the way back down through the day. So there is no right way to do this. There's only probably 50,000 wrong ways to do it. So So let's be sharp. Let's be sharp. Let's be ready. That's all I got. Anybody else have anything?
Nothing else for me.
All right, everybody. We got a 15 minutes, actually 14 minutes and some change until open. Let's get our heads on straight. We're coming into battle today. This is a real fucking day. This is days like today. If you can walk out the other side green, you're a fucking rock star. So let's focus on getting our heads in the standpoint to where no matter how the day begins, how it ends is what we do in the process. We control how the day goes. We do. We dictate our P&L. We dictate the action. So get your heads right. Get your heads in the game. Let's fucking get in this thing and kill it.
Let's do it.
20 seconds. And strong bid side puts Nvidia, now a bunch of bid side calls. Put sweeper Amazon out to April, 328K. Puts on Tesla for next week, 333 strike. That was a block, 260K. On those trades there, Hells. Thank you for Apple. Just setting stops. Tesla puts out to next week, 291.67s. Rapid fire bullish Tesla. September 16th, 310 calls, paying 88 cents. Bid side puts coming in. What was this one? Those are back-to-back Apple and Tesla. More bid side puts Apple. There's a little put sweeper Apple. Bid side put Amazon out to October, 800 something K block. LEN roulette bearish. This week 75 puts paying 60 cents. Put on Tesla on the ask this week's 295s. How much was that? Back to back on the 295 puts on Tesla. 40 something K. Put sweeper Meta this week's 165's 172K. Ask side. Yellow put on AKRO. Haven't seen that one too much. The 25s out to November 115K. Yellow bid side call Google out to 2025. Put sweeper Oxy end of the month 67's 144K yellow sweep. Yellow put sweeper Snow next week's 170's 410K. Puts on Apple, puts on Microsoft. Said call sweepers Tesla back-to-back 305s and 295s for this week. Yellow put on ALB out to October. Haven't seen that one too much. Bid side call block Tesla out to June, 1.3 million. Call Nvidia next week's 140's 373K. Bid side puts on Nvidia and Snow, Apple as well, baby money. Yellow bid side put Carvana out to the end of the month at 73K. Bid side call block Uber. Keeping an eye on Oxy. Oxy had a dark pool last night at 66.8. See if we get a retest. There's also news, I think Sun had shared Buffett increasing his stake. There's a put sweeper Tesla. Couple little calls on Tesla. More puts LEN on the ask. Yellow put JP Morgan October 7th, 114 is 55K. Put on snow out to January. Real-time little dark pool on SPY at 402.4, 120,000 shares. Puts Apple back to back. Not a lot of money. Or puts Apple. Bids I put SE sweeper out to October 60s, the 307K. Meta, this week's 167.50s, 650K. Repeater bearish Apple, this week 155 puts. Calls coming into Apple, 165s for this week and then out to October. Call sweeper AMD out to 2024, the 150s. So I'd put NVIDIA next week's 130, 68K. Bids I'd put block Netflix. Bids I'd puts Apple and Tesla. Tesla 290s out to next week, 170K put on the bid. Yellow put on TXN out to the end of the month, 160, 59K. Tap into Square. Bids I'd put NVIDIA. Bids I'd call sweeper Valet. This week's 13, 697K. Put on Apple 157.50s for this week, 180K sweeper. $1.5 million put on Ford, the 16s out to October. Above ask sweep. Call Apple out to January. Yellow put on Affirm. Put Apple. Put Meta. Bids I'd put on Tesla. Just a block, 445K. Bids I'd put Tesla.